Hello everybody, welcome to the studio. Hopefully you're all having amazing creative days. So it's an exciting day for those of us who shoot with the Canon EOS R5 Mark II because firmware 1.1.1 or firmware 111 as I'm going to call it in this video in honor of Fallout, it's released. So now you can install it on your camera, and this is a pretty big firmware. I was reading over the change notes and there are 27 different things that Canon has added or fixed in the R5 Mark II. So it's a pretty massive firmware, and just for context, the firmware was released a week ago or so, and there was issues with it. There was a bug with it, so it was pulled. And also the previous firmware for the R5 Mark II, firmware 103, not everybody had issues with it, but some people experienced focusing issues with certain lenses with that firmware. So with that being said and that being understood, I strongly recommend, and I'm gonna follow my own advice here, is don't install firmware 111 on your R5 Mark II. Wait a month. Today is July 25th. So I'm gonna wait till August 25th before I install this firmware just to make sure, because the R5 Mark II is my moneymaker. And I'm sure if you're watching this video and you have an R5 Mark II, it's also your moneymaker. Maybe some of you have it as a second camera, but the thing is, it's a camera for business. It's a business, like it's for making money. And I don't want to install a firmware on this camera, which is going to create a glitch or a bug or screw up the camera in any way. So I'm not going to install this firmware till August 25th. And I strongly encourage you to do the same thing because Canon has kind of been a little iffy with their firmware rollouts. Like the R7 was plagued with issues and stuff. But anyway, you do what you want to do. It's your choice. I'm just giving you my opinion. So now, with that being said, let's talk about these 27 plus one things that are in this firmware update. Okay, so first thing here in the new firmware, improved security features. A password must be set initially, adds the ability to review the history of any changes made to the password, network information, or other settings. So basically your camera is now password protected. Now again, I'm not going to install this firmware for a month, so I don't know what that means. I believe it means like every time you try and access a network, FTP, something like that, the password's enabled. Maybe you have to input the password every time you pick up your camera, which would be really annoying because you're going to miss a lot of shots if you have to punch in your password before you can take a photo. So I'm not really sure how that works, but now we do have a password on our camera. And number two, and this one's a little bit controversial for me, enables firmware updates to be performed when the camera is connected to the internet and a new firmware is made available on Canon servers. So what does that mean? Does that mean that the camera will automatically update? If you're connected to the internet, will the camera just seek out the server from Canon and download the firmware and install it on your camera automatically without asking you? Or is it a feature where you have to say, okay, go and check for a new firmware update? Okay, yes, enable it. Or is there some kind of pop-up that's going to happen on your camera like it does on computers where it says, hey, a new firmware is available? I don't know which scenario it's going to be, but hopefully it's not an auto download and update to your camera, because that would be extremely frustrating, especially considering the issues that Canon has created with their firmware. So I definitely don't want that to be an auto update. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we have more control over the firmware being installed on our cameras. Number three, adds the ability to automatically detect flicker at 100 or 120 hertz during live view display. That's pretty cool because flickering can get pretty annoying. All right, number four, and this one's a little bit interesting, adds the ability to register focus positions as a preset on the CR A100 camera remote application. This ability makes it easier to focus on subjects at an intended distance when the application is used with the robotic camera system CR S700R. For most of us, this isn't going to mean anything, but if you use that system, there you go. Number five, and this one's pretty cool, right? For those of us who shoot sports, this is going to be hugely beneficial. Adds the ability to select case special to expand servo autofocus characteristics, which is effective for subjects located behind a net in sporting events such as badminton or volleyball. So if you shoot sports that involves a net, that's awesome. And hopefully in baseball, sometimes if you're standing, in the crowd and you're shooting the home plate from the fans' perspective, you have that net up preventing the balls from getting to the crowd. So hopefully that, doesn't interfere there as well. So that's an awesome update. I like that one. That's the first functional one that we've found so far. All right, so update 6 and 9, 6 and 9, fortuitous right there, are both identical. So I guess in their haste to get this published, they didn't double check everything. So both 6 and 9 are identical, and they say add support for the software development assistance kit and a bunch of letters. So if that's important to you, there you go, 6 and 9. All right, number 7 is pretty cool. Adds a function that simultaneously protects images when they are rated. So if you rate your images with a star using the button on the back of your camera, those images are now protected from being deleted, which is great. So you can't accidentally delete. I don't know if you can format your camera when you have images rated, so we'll see. I'll test that out in a month. But yeah, that's a pretty cool update. Number 8, improves image stabilization control for lenses compatible with peripheral coordinated control. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not really sure what that is, so let's figure out what that is. And number 10, adds to lower the image capture frame rate to help prevent overheating when connected to the CR-A100 in extended remote shooting. Okay, I guess if that affects you, great. I have no idea what that is. All right, number 11 is for those of you who make voice memos on your images. Photojournalists love this, sports shooters love this. So when transferring images with voice memos via FTP, the transfer order priority has now changed, with voice memo wave files being sent first, followed by image files. If a voice memo is added to an image queued for transfer, the image and voice memo are now sent last. Okay, so something to know just in case. 12, adds the ability to set the number of shots captured in pre-continuous shooting mode. That is good. So if you're shooting sports or wildlife, anything like that, you can set your pre-shooting capture number, which is awesome because I find, well, I don't really shoot a lot of that kind of stuff, but if you're shooting way too many shots before you actually shoot a shot, you're just eating up memory space or memory card space. So that's definitely a good thing. All right, number 13, and this is a strange one, adds the ability to set airplane mode to shooting button customization. Now, I'm not sure when that would come in handy, so if somebody ever, if this is a feature you would use, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know how and when would this come in handy. Why would you want to set airplane mode to one of your custom buttons? I'm not sure. Okay, let's continue. Okay, 14, adds the ability to enable exposure simulation when a flash unit is attached. Absolutely awesome. Improved AF tracking during video capture for subjects that are difficult to focus on. Now that's kind of vague. Improved autofocus tracking during video capture for subjects that are difficult to focus on. How do you define what's difficult to focus on? Like a twig? I'm not sure, but in any case, it looks like there was an improvement made to the autofocus functionality. Now, from 16 all the way to the end, these are all just bug fixes. So I'm just going to do a voiceover and I'm going to put the text over the screen so you can read along with me. And let's talk about the bug fixes. All right, bug fixes 16. Fixes an issue in which error 70 may occur when enlarging an image after shooting with blackout-free display set to on and servo first image priority, one shot AF release priority set to release priority. Okay, that's a tongue twister, but there you go. If you have that error, that's your fix in this firmware. Fixes an issue in which error 70 may occur during Bluetooth communication due to interference from other Bluetooth devices. That is absolutely awesome. 18, fixes an issue in which error 70 may occur when repeatedly shooting in high-speed continuous shooting plus mode. Absolutely awesome. That's a good fix. Fixes an issue in which error 70 may occur immediately after startup when shooting with an electronic shutter. I've never had that issue. So for those of you who have had that issue, this is absolutely awesome because that would definitely be frustrating. 20, fixes an issue in which error 70 may occur during video recording in this mode. 21, fixes an issue in which error 70 may occur while filming in video mode with frame rates set to 50p and movie digital IS set to on or enhanced. I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently that caused issues. Okay. 22, fixes an issue in which error 70 may occur during shooting with both pre-recording and auto send to Canon servers is enabled. 23, fixes an issue in which the camera may stop functioning properly when image review is set to off and the monitor entered low brightness mode after pre-continuous shooting. I could definitely see how that would be really frustrating. 24, fixes an issue in which video recording may not be possible when using remote live view shooting in EOS utility while outputting via HDMI. 25, fixes an issue in which large raw image files may not be transferred via Camera Connect. 26, fixes an issue in which a horizontal line may appear momentarily in the viewfinder. And last but not least, 27, fixes an issue in which the camera may not connect to Wi-Fi 7 compatible routers. Alright, so that was a mouthful. That was a lot of words. Let me know in the comments down below, are you going to update the firmware right away, or are you going to wait a month before you update just in case there's any glitches? And also, what parts of that firmware excited you the most? I mean, there's a lot of bug fixes, so if you're dealing with some of those error 70 codes, that's definitely a good thing. But in terms of the features added to the camera, like the password, I really don't care. That doesn't bother me. The ability to update the firmware through the camera if it's connected to the internet, I really don't care. That doesn't sway me one way or the other. The improved autofocus when tracking difficult things in video could be beneficial, but I don't know what is a difficult thing. Like, are you tracking a hummingbird through a grassy field? Is that difficult? You know, usually I'm just doing talking head stuff like this with my clients and myself for YouTube, so I don't know if it's going to move the needle for me. If you're shooting sports, that ability for the camera to ignore the net and focus on the subject matter is pretty cool. So if you're shooting sports with nets, that could be a huge plus. But overall, this is like, it seems to me like it's a big firmware with not much punch. So, I mean, in terms of updating the firmware, I don't mind waiting a month before updating because nothing here is really going to move the needle for me. I haven't experienced any of those errors that were mentioned. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. What do you think about the firmware? Are you going to do the updates? What's your favorite feature? I mean, YouTube really wants social interaction to grow channels and push videos. So if you would help me out by leaving a comment down below, even if it's just to tell me what the weather's like in your part of the world, I would greatly appreciate it because it really helps me grow this channel, which is what this channel is all about. So in this channel, we talk about Canon gear, photography, we do tutorials, tips and tricks on how to use the cameras. I want to incorporate more photo shoots into this channel as well. So if that's what you're into, definitely subscribe to the channel because there's a lot of that content coming up. And every time there's a new firmware for this camera, I will keep you updated with a video on this channel. So definitely subscribe for that. And with that being said, I smacked my mic. This video is over. I will see you guys in the next one, and thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. Peace out.